Every genius in history had one thing in common, okay? They were terrible students. Einstein failed his entrance exams. Gates quit Harvard. But your kids are being trained to be excellent students. But the problem is that no scientist in human history ever discovered anything great by following the scientific method. They imagined first, then they worked backwards. Okay? School rewards the opposite of genius. It rewards repetition over imagination. Okay? Compliance over creativity. Memorization over innovation. And we wonder why breakthrough innovations are disappearing. A researcher once asked 1,500 kindergartners to find new uses for a paperclip. Okay? 98% scored at creative genius level. The same kids tested in high school, 12% creative genius. The education system had fixed them, turned creative humans into efficient machines. But here's what they don't tell you about the scientific method everyone worships. Research, outline, hypothesis, experiment, conclusion. This is how you explain a discovery, not how you make one. Okay, Newton didn't hypothesize gravity, then test it. Gravity hit him, literally, and then he spent years explaining what he instantly understood. The discovery came first. The method came after. We've confused the autopsy with the birth. We're teaching students to dissect ideas that already exist, not create ideas that don't. And there's a very specific reason why. Think about your last brilliant idea, the one that actually excited you. Where were you? Let me guess. Your car or lying in bed at 3 a.m.? Never at your desk. Never while brainstorming. Your brain was doing something specific in those moments. It was wandering, just drifting. Neuroscientists call this the default mode network. It's when your brain makes connections between things that shouldn't connect. It's where innovation lives. But notice what happens in school. Pay attention. Stop daydreaming, okay? Focus. Every instruction is designed to shut down the exact brain state that produces creativity. Your best ideas always come when you're not trying, okay? So we built an education system that forces you to always be trying. The problem is that Einstein didn't discover relativity in a lab. He was daydreaming about riding a beam of light, just imagining, playing with impossible scenarios in his head. Watson didn't decode DNA through careful analysis. He literally had a dream about a spiral staircase, woke up, drew the double helix, Nobel Prize. The idea found them. But here's the catch. Ideas only visit quiet minds, wandering minds. And those are exactly the kinds of minds school is designed to eliminate. Watch what happens to a child's drawings from kindergarten to high school. At age 5, purple suns, flying houses, people with wings. At age 10, houses with triangular roofs, yellow suns in the corner. At age 15, I can't draw. They didn't lose ability, they lost permission. Every assignment has one correct answer. Every essay has one proper format. Every problem has one right method. Deviation gets punished. Creativity gets corrected. Innovation gets marked wrong. The problem is that there's fear. To make a mistake, lower grade, lower GPA, ruin future. So students learn the most important lesson school teaches. Never risk being wrong. But innovation requires being wrong 99 times to be revolutionary once. The problem is that JCC school teaches you how to explain ideas, but never how to create them. You graduate knowing how to analyze Shakespeare, but unable to write a poem that matters. You can solve differential equations, but can't invent new mathematics. You memorize history, but can't imagine different futures. That's exactly what school trains you to do. Recombine existing information. Follow established methods. Execute known frameworks. But the future doesn't belong to those who can process information. It belongs to those who can imagine what doesn't exist. And that's the one thing school deliberately destroyed in you. Think about the biggest challenges we face: climate change, mental health, disease. We won't solve them by following methods. We'll solve them through ideas that shouldn't exist, from minds that learn to wander. In an AI world, the only competitive advantage is being incomputable, being irrational, being creative. But we're training humans to be inferior computers instead of superior dreamers. School teaches you the process, but life demands the idea. Every transformed industry, every breakthrough innovation, every leap forward came from someone who ignored their education long enough to imagine. The geniuses weren't terrible students by accident. They were terrible students because something in them refused to stop dreaming. They couldn't force their minds into the boxes school provided. Your creativity isn't gone. It's just buried under years of training, under the weight of right answers and proper methods and pay attention. Want to think like Einstein, like Jobs, like every genius who changed the world? Stop trying to be an excellent student. Start being a terrible one. Here's what actually happens in the creative mind, and it's exactly backwards from everything you've been taught. First, the idea appears, okay? Suddenly, completely, like remembering something you never learned. Then your mind races backwards, okay? Finding patterns, seeing connections that shouldn't exist but somehow do. Only then do you create structure, but the structure serves the idea, not the other way around. Then you hunt for evidence, not to discover truth, but to support what you already know is true. The method comes last. It's just packaging, gift wrap for an idea that arrived naked and perfect. School teaches you to start with method and hope an idea shows up. But that's like starting with a frame and hoping a painting appears. Writers know this secret. They'll tell you, I don't write stories, I discover them. The characters tell me what happens. I'm just the typist. Musicians say the same thing. The melody arrives, complete. They just transcribe what they hear. Mathematicians describe proofs appearing whole in their minds. They see the entire solution instantly, then spend months writing it down so others can understand. Creativity is not effort. Creativity is listening. But here's what's terrifying. We're raising a generation that never learned to listen. They're too busy performing, producing, achieving. Their mental inbox is always full. There's no room for ideas to arrive. Watch a kid with unscheduled time now. They panic. They reach for devices. They can't sit with silence. They've been trained to consume or produce, never to receive. ChatGPT can write perfect essays. It can solve any problem you learned in school, okay? It can follow any method, execute any framework, okay? Process any information. But ask it to have an original idea? Nothing. Silence. It can only recombine what exists.